Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to an episode of Kings of Lethal. I am your host, King Lethal, Nick. Welcome back. So, as you guys can tell, I sound a lot better. I've been working through that illness I had, which seemed to be some kind of, I don't know, upper congestion. Anyways, I am feeling a lot better, sounding a lot better, doing a lot better. I know I missed out on a couple things. I promise you guys I'm working on getting those together. I tried reading some of the story, and when I listened back to it, because of my congestion, it just sounded awful. But I am still working on getting that story out for you guys. But today, I wanted to go ahead and talk about spoilers. Yes, some spoilers came out yesterday. We're going to touch on those real quickly, but some of the spoilers that came out today, today being the 8th of April at this current time. So if you're watching this video back in a couple days, just keep in mind these are the spoilers as of the 8th of April. New Capenna is just around the corner, about 20 days away now. I'm super excited. Some of the cards I've been seeing, I'm definitely having a lot of fun reading some of these cards and talking to my friends about it. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on into it. I'm going to go ahead and put the cards up for you guys on the screen here as I talk about them, and we'll get through it. So hope you enjoy, and I'll see you when we're done. All right, the first one we're going to talk about here is one of the new house leaders. In the previous episode, we talked about the three that were spoiled. This is one of the fourth one. His name is Falco Sparrow, Pact Weaver. One, a green, white, and blue. I believe that's Bant, so one in Bant. For a 3/3 legendary creature, bird demon. He has flying and trample. And Falco Sparrow, Pact Weaver, enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. A shield counter. You may look at the top part of your library anytime, and you may cast spells from top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control in addition to paying their other costs. That is a really awesome commander. The fact that it's in white and green just adds a counter heavy. Just put pretty much +1/+1 counters on pretty much everything you have. There's a lot of cards that do that in those colors. Blue just helps you make token copies and stuff like that. Gives you the ability for counters as well. With white and blue, also allows you the ability to flicker. So if you do remove the counter from Falco Sparrow, you can just flick him back out. When he re-EGBs, he'll get a shield counter on him. Again, I believe, if I remember reading something about the shield counters, a shield counter, if that creature that has a shield counter on it will be dealt damage or destroyed, remove that shield counter from it instead. So pretty much shield is kind of a shield counter. It sounds like it's pretty much a pseudo indestructible, which is pretty cool. So the bad part is, let's say you put that shield counter on let's say a 3/3, and it takes 1 damage. That shield counter gets removed. So almost like totem armor, kind of in a sense. Totem armor, pseudo indestructible, really cool counter, really cool ability, really fun card. I can definitely see a deck being built around this guy. He has a lot of potential for sure. Flying trample, so flample. Yeah, with it being a 3/3, putting +1/+1 counters on this stuff is going to be insane. All right, the next one is going to be the last and the final house leader. His name is Zyatora, the Incinerator. 3 black, red, and green. I forget what the wording for that is, but 3 black, red, and green. Legendary creature, demon, dragon, 6/6 with flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zyatora the Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. This is obviously a sacrificing heavy deck. It wants you to make creatures, so again with green and red, you do have ways to make a lot of those real quick, little goblins or kobolds, or just any kind of tokens in general. You sack off those little tokens. They're going to do a little bit of damage here and there when you sacrifice them to Zyatora. And then, so when it deals that damage to any target, you create 3 treasure tokens. So pretty much sacrifice a 1/1, deal 1 damage to any target, and then make 3 treasures. With him being in this color, he's not exactly the best commander in this color pie. I would definitely say Corval, the Fakehurst King, is definitely a better commander in this pie and this style of build. In my opinion, this guy would go in the 99 in a heartbeat in that deck if I still had that deck. But yeah, I can see how he could be a pretty fun commander. Again, 6/6 flying. But yeah, there are definitely better options in this color pie. I believe Corval's even cheaper. I believe Corval's 2 in that trio. I don't think he's 6. I think he's 5 CMC. Anyways, this guy's 6 CMC for a 6/6 flying. Again, at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zyatora the Incinerator does damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. Yeah, seems like a pretty fun card. Not my first pick in this color pie, but I can definitely see people building a deck off of them for sure. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is these are going to be from the new precons. These are the precon commanders. These are the face commanders for the precons, which I am looking forward to. I actually bought one of each because I'm a huge commander fan and I love commander precons. Anyways, this guy is going to be Perry the Pulverizer. 1 and Bant, so 1 green, white, blue, for a legendary creature, Rhino Soldier, 3/3. When Perry enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target creature. So you can put it on him when he ETBs, or you can put it on somebody else. Again, shield counters are if it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove the shield counter from it instead. And then whenever Perry attacks, target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is a number of different kinds of counters among permanents you control. So this is obviously a counter-heavy deck. Kind of give you a little bit of clue to what the deck might be holding. So you're probably going to have +1/+1 counters, shield counters, possibly even -1, -1 counters. Just all different kinds of counters you can think of putting on your commanders. And I believe in Ikoria they introduced all those new keyword counters as well. Death Touch, Flying, Trample, all that kind of stuff. Crystalline Giant would definitely be a fun one to put in here because he's going to be getting those counters. He probably is in the deck itself. If not, he's definitely something I'd be adding to this deck if I was building it. Seems like a pretty fun commander. Again, with it being the flicker abilities with the blue and the white, you flick Perry, and then when he ETBs, you put a shield counter on target creature. I would definitely be taking advantage of some of that little bit of that flicker ability for sure. Just keep putting those shield counters because again, it's pseudo indestructible / I forget what the other one was. Pseudo indestructible, kind of like totem armor. So definitely a fun looking commander for a precon commander. Probably not going to build it, but it looks fun for sure. All right, the next one up is going to be, I believe it's pronounced Kames Obscura Oculus. 1 blue, black, and white, so 1 in Esper. Legendary creature, Cephalid Rogue for a 2/4. Whenever you attack target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. It connives, then choose another attacking creature with lesser power. That creature gains double strike until end of turn. So to have a creature connive, you draw a card, then discard a card. If you discard a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So there are some cards that say connive like X or connive 4. So if they say that, then you would connive, it will say connive 4. If it's connive 4, you would connive 4, so it means you would draw 4 cards and then discard 4 cards. So it looks like these new Esper legendary creatures are going to be doing something with this new mechanic called connive, which I think is actually pretty fun. My brother is building that, one of the other Kings of Lethal. And the idea he has for it, I'm super excited to see. I can't wait to play against it when he builds it. Seems like a really fun commander. The best part about this is when you discard a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So creatures are going to be getting big. So the second part of that ability is then choose another attacking creature with lesser power. That creature gains double strike until end turn. So if your 2 biggest creatures are a 14/14 and a 12/12, you put that +1/+1 counter on that 12/12, make it a 13/13. The 14/14 is the one that would connive, and then that 13/13 now gains double strike. So pretty fun, especially if it's on something like a flyer or something that has trample. I can see how this can get out of hand real quick. Definitely a fun-looking commander, fun-looking style of play. Again, can't wait to see it. Okay, we got Angelo the Painter. This is probably my favorite one of the Precon commanders. But Angelo the Painter is blue, black, red, so only a 3-drop in the Grixis color pie. Legendary creature, Vampire Assassin for a 1/3. He has Death Touch. And the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn has Casualty 2. As you cast that spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater. When you do, copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Yes, this is going to be insane. You can be very mean. You can be downright awful if you want to with this guy. In that color pie, there's a lot of really mean things to do. For example, I'm just going to go ahead and use blue. You have extra turn spells. So you play an extra turn spell, you sacrifice a zombie token, a 2/2 zombie token, and next thing you know, you got more than one extra turn coming your way. In black, forget the name, I think it's Army of the Damned, or I forget what it is, but it's the black sorcery, has flashback. It makes, I believe it's like 12 2/2 or 13 2/2 zombies. And then if you flash it back, I think it creates more. But anyways, you make those zombies, and then all you gotta do is, again, you sacrifice one of those zombies or one of a zombie you've already created, or anything that has 2 or greater, for that matter, and then you get to copy that spell, and you can also copy the flashback as well, just making a gratuitous amount of zombies. With it being a Vampire Assassin, you can definitely go Vampire Tribal, because in blue, black, red, you do have vampires in those color pie. Keep in mind you have to sacrifice one specific creature with power 2 or greater. So it's not like Crew where you can just sacrifice 2 1/1s. You have to sacrifice a 2 or greater creature. But I feel like that's not too difficult with this thing. With red and blue and black, instant sorcery fun. This is going to be a fun commander to see on the tables for sure in the future. If I was to build any of these Precon commanders, this is the one I'm looking at for sure. Again, Angelo the Painter, blue, black, red, Grixis, 1/3. Looks fun. All right. Henzai Toolbox Torre. Yes, Toolbox is a AKA. It's not actually part of his name. His actual name is Henzai Torre, but he is also known as Toolbox. He is in the black, red, and green. Again, I forget what that color pie is called, but just black, red, green, so 3-drop. For a 3/3 legendary creature, Devil Rogue. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. What Blitz is you may choose to cast that spell for its Blitz cost. If you do, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Blitz costs you pay cost 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this time. So each time you cast them from command zone, you're going to reduce the Blitz cost of those cards by 1. Any creatures with 4 or greater have Blitz, so while they're in your hand, let's just use let's see here, 10-drop Kozilek. You got 10 CMC monocolored Kozilek. You cast your commander twice. Now you can cast Kozilek for 8 mana. He comes out, has haste, does fun stuff. At the end of your turn, you gotta sacrifice it. When you sacrifice it, you draw a card. So a lot of upside here. Plus, then those the Eldrazi guy goes back into he dies, goes to the graveyard, and then you shuffle everything back into your graveyard. Hell, just even having like a Blightsteel in here, 12-drop Blightsteel. Let's say you cast your commander, again, he's 3-drop, so you cast him 3 times in the game. Not very impossible with this commander because it's got such a low CMC to start with. Now, that Blightsteel is now a 9 CMC. Not too hard. And these color pie green, got a lot of ramp going on. You blitz out a Blightsteel, nobody sees that coming, hit somebody, kill somebody, you sacrifice it, draw a card, and then he shuffles himself back into the library. Henzai Toolbox Tori. Looks like a very fun commander to play with. I see a lot of builds coming up with him, just pretty much big creatures, because you don't mind having them in your hand, especially if you can just throw them out there and then hit somebody real quick and then dip on out. Seems pretty fun. I'd like to build it, so you might see it here in the future. Okay, and the last one of these Precon commanders is Kanto, Mayhem Diva. 1 green, red, white, so 1 and Naya. Legendary creature, Catbird Druid, 3/3. When Kit Kanto enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Build that creature. Not really a big fan of this commander. I'm not really a big fan of Goat. I tried to build a Goat deck in a while back. Just not my. It's too slow for me. I like to play quick and play fast. I do like the token generation on it, but not really a big fan of this card. I can see it having a lot of play because Goat is a pretty fun mechanic, but for me it was just too slow. Maybe if this deck allows you to Goat faster, or probably even go to instant speed, that'd be pretty cool. Which I guess this commander kind of does, but you do have to tap 2 untapped creatures, so if you don't have that to pretty much pay for this ability, you won't be able to do it. It could save you for sure if you just got 2 1/1s up and your opponent's about to swing at you with I'll use Blightsteel again, and you're like, oh, well, I'm dead if this thing hits me. I'm just going to go ahead and tap these 2 citizens, and now that Blightsteel's going to go ahead and hit somebody else because I don't want it to hit my face. Seems pretty fun. Definitely has its little nuances. Not a big fan, but if you want to build it, more power to you. Have fun. Alright, the next one I'm going to talk about is not a legendary creature, but it's one of my favorite cards that's been announced so far. It is a mono red Devilish Valet, 2 and a red for a 1/3 creature, Devil Warrior, trample and haste. The art on it looks like old-timey magic art, which I kind of like about it. But it has an ability called Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power into end turn. I love the fact that it has trample. I love the fact that it has haste. I am actually in the process of building a Naya creature token generated deck. So whenever I create one of those tokens, if I'm able to double it up, let's just say I'm able to get, let's just say 4 tokens out in one shot, he's going to go ahead and multiply his power 4 times. So again, because whenever another creature enters the battlefield and under your control, double his power. So with him being a 1/3, if I got 4 creatures entering, it's going to times that by 4. But so not times it by 4, but so 1 doubled is 2, 2 doubled is 4, 4 doubled is 8, 8 doubled is 16. So if 4 creatures entering, he becomes a 16/3 with trample and haste. Huge fan of this guy. I'm gonna love throwing him into my deck. Especially he's non-legendary, so I can possibly even make copies and doubles of him and just have fun hitting people with these little devil warriors. Okay, we're gonna move on to Beyonce's favorite card, Halo Fountain. It is a white artifact, 2 and a white, and it has the ability tap a white and a Halo Fountain. Untap a tap creature you control. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Tap 2 white and Halo Fountain. Untap 2 tap creatures you control. Draw a card. Tap 5 white and Halo Fountain. Untap 15 tap creatures you control. You win the game. Again, as I talked about building a Naya creature token generated deck, I'm hoping with the deck concept I have in mind, like creature generation isn't an issue, and then all I got to do is find a way to tap 15 of them, which isn't too difficult. When you just swing out with 15 creatures, and then I just tap 5 white, tap Halo Fountain, and I win the game. I can see this thing being not an immediate target, but if you got a pretty decent board state as far as creatures, I can see this thing being an immediate target. Looks like a fun card to play. It is a mythic rare from the set. Yeah, pretty big fan of that card. I love cards with like instant win combos on it, or like not really a combo, just instant wins. They're fun to play with, my personal opinion. This looks like a fun card to have. I definitely hope I get it, and if I do, it's definitely going into my creature generation deck. Alright, anybody like Planeswalkers? Let's go ahead and start talking about the 3 Planeswalkers we'll see in this set. The first one is going to be a mono white Elspeth Resplendent. Elspeth is back, boys and girls. 3 and 2 white, so 5 drop. for a legendary planeswalker Elspeth with 5 loyalty. Its +1, or her +1, is choose up to one target creature, put a +1/+1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. And her -7, her ultimate, is create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying. Not my favorite ultimate, not my favorite planeswalker. I do like that +1. That +1 seems like it would be a huge fit in the Bant commander, the Rhino commander from the precon, just because you can use it a +1/+1 counter, and then you get to choose between flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. Again, those keyword counters. She seems like she's a pretty fun planeswalker to have to play with. I wish that ultimate was just a little bit more fun and exciting, but overall, not too bad. All right, next up is going to be Miss Vivian on the hunt. Vivian is back. I believe the last time we saw her, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, was Ikoria, I think. Anyways, this time around, she is a 6-drop, 4 and 2 green, legendary planeswalker Vivian, with 4 starting loyalty. She has a +2 for you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus sacrifice creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. She has a +1, which is mill 5 cards, and put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. And then her -1 is create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Again, not the best alt in my opinion, but for what she does, as far as getting you bigger creatures or getting you creatures into your hand to cast for other abilities, she seems like a pretty fun commander. I definitely think there are better Vivians out there, like the one from Ikoria is definitely a better one for sure. The art on the card is pretty sick, and Vivian is one of my favorite planeswalkers out there. I hope I pull her, but I don't think she's going to see much use anytime soon. Again, I wish these ultimates, I wish these ultimates were just a bit better. All right, last planeswalker we're going to talk about here. It's your boy, one of my favorite planeswalkers of all time, Ob Nixilis, the Adversary. This time he's a 3-drop, so 1 black and red, so he's been adding red to his color pie now. It used to be just mono black. Legendary planeswalker Nixilis, 3. Loyalty starting. However, he does have Casualty X. The copy isn't legendary and has starting loyalty X. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power X. When you do, copy this spell. The copy becomes a token. So, if you sacrifice a 2/2, so casualty will be 2. So you create a loyalty 2, Ob Nixilis the Adversary. It does not have the legendary clause, so it can stay out there on the field. So now you got 2 of these Ob Nixilis the Adversaries. And then each, it is +1, is each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a demon or devil, you gain 2 life. -2, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And -7, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life. Again, not exactly the best, or in my opinion, not exactly the most, or the craziest of alts, but the fact that he has Casualty X, and you can get 2 of these guys, possibly making your opponents discard more and more cards, or losing more life with that +1. Again, they lose 2 life unless they discard a card. I can see him having a lot of play, a lot of fun. I love that he's in Rakdos now. One of my favorite planeswalkers of all time. I can see myself using him somewhere. Let's talk about Praetor's Urbrask Heretic Praetor. 3 and 2 red for a 4/4 legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. Haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card, this turn. Instead, they exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn. So, Impulse Draw. At first glance, when I first read this commander, or this card, wasn't a big fan of it. I'm not gonna lie. I read it a couple times, and I was like, okay. He seems like your typical Urbraz. Last Urbraz wasn't exactly the most fun of Praetors out of all the Praetors we had. But with his emergence, that leaves us with 2 more Praetors. I believe we still have Sholdred, who was rumored to be dead, but not confirmed. And then we got our lovely lady Elish Norn. So I'm definitely excited to see where this is going. But let's get back to Urbrask. So again, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. So you exile your top card, and then you still get your draw. So now not only do you have the cards in your hand, but you have this impulse draw card. Yes, your opponent can see what it is, but with it being mono red, it's probably going to be some douchebag fuckery, which I'm all for. And it does say you may play it this turn, so if it's a land, you can play it as your land drop. So it's most likely never going to be a card unless you can't cast it because you don't have enough mana for it, which would be unfortunate. But with this card, if I was running it as my commander, I'd be running stuff like Scroll Rack, Sensei's Divining Top Deck Manipulation. Not a lot of, from what I remember correctly, not a lot of that in mono red, but there is some out there. But the best part about him is at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, so pretty much their first draw of their turn, instead, they're going to exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn. So, let's just say you're playing a fun deck of mono red, and you have mono red discard stuff, making your opponents discard a lot of stuff, or having to play a lot of stuff to reduce their hand size. You make them draw, or if you on their draw step, they're not going to be able to put that card into their hand, which means they have to play it this turn, or it is going to be bye-byes forever. Again, if they don't have enough mana for it, they're not going to be able to hold on to it in their hand for later. So early game, if you're hitting, they're like, they're 4, 5, 6, 7 drop cards that they can't really cast. It's only going to hurt them. He seems like a fun commander to play with. I think he'd be better in a 99 or somewhere, but if somebody's going to build this, I would not mind it. I personally don't have any interest in him right now. I'm still playing with my mono blue Jin Katakis deck from Neon Dynasty and loving every minute of that. I don't plan on taking that apart anytime soon. Sorry, boys and girls. Sorry, play group. It is what it is. All right, so now we're going to go and talk about the secondary commanders in the precons. These are the alternate commanders that you get in the precons. So the first one is going to be Cross, Defense Contractor. 1 green, white, blue, so 1 in Bant for a 2/4 legendary creature, Cat Advisor. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a shield counter on target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature you don't control, tap that creature and goad it. It gains trample until end of turn. Again, the second I see goad, I'm already kind of turned off on this. Plus, putting counters on your opponent's creatures. The only thing I could see you wanting to put a counter on your opponent's creatures is a -1/-1. But that creature would be goaded. And it gains trample at the end of your next turn, which means it's going to have to attack. Seems fun, not my style of build. Alright, the next one is going to be Fabin Boss's Confidant. 3 red, green, white, so 3 in Naya, for a 3/6 legendary creature, Cat Advisor. Creature tokens you control have haste, which is awesome. Parlay. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land card revealed this way, you create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Then creatures you control get +1/+1 to end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. Then each player draws a card. So, at the beginning of combat, which means I'm moving into combat, so I have not declared attackers yet, which is awesome. You're going to parlay, so for each land card, you're going to get these 1/1 citizens, and then creatures you control get +1/+1 to end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. And those creature tokens that enter or that are already on the field that have entered this turn possibly all have haste. This is a 6-drop. It's not going to be my commander, but it will be going into my token build. Seems like a really fun card to have in there, and why not? Let's have some fun. Okay, this one is Tivit, Seller of Secrets. It is the Esper one. It is going to be a 3 white, blue, black legendary creature, Sphinx Rogue, 6/6. Full name is Tivit, Seller of Secrets. His ability is Council's Dilemma. So we're voting here, boys and girls. Voter's Dilemma. Whenever he enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, investigate, which is creating a clue token. And then for each bribery vote, create a treasure token. Obviously, with this commander, you're most likely going to be choosing bribery unless you have a clue build, I'm assuming. And then while voting, you may vote an additional time. The votes can be different choices of the same choice. I can see there being a build on this is pretty much politics, which sounds fun. Who loves politics? I'm a king. I hate politics. I'm in charge. My rules only. Shut up. Go away. Yeah. I can see this card being a problem on the tabletop. Not a big fan. Also, I forgot to mention, it does have flying because it is a Sphinx. And it has Ward 3, so why not? You want to get rid of it, now pay 3 more. God, this thing gets worse and worse every time I read more and more about it. And it's a 6/6. This thing is stupid. I don't like this card. It's really mean looking. I'm not going to build it because, even though I'm mean, not a douchebag asshole. You're welcome. Alright, next up is Parnis, the Subtle Brush. 2 blue, black, red, so 2 in Grixis. For a legendary creature, Vampire Wizard, 4/4. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless that player pays 4 life. So almost like Jin Cataxis, except they do have a way around, they got to pay 4 life. Whenever you copy a spell, up to 1 target opponent may also copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I can see this thing being very mean. I feel like this is definitely a 99 legendary creature. So a creature in the 99. I can see people run this as your commander. My personal opinion on it, though, is 1 5-drop for a 4/4. I don't want to pay that. The effect is fun, but maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong if you are going to build this commander. But I feel that this is definitely more of the 99. The artwork on it is pretty awesome. It's pretty much her painting herself, which I think looks cool. But other than that, maybe the 99, probably not even in the deck. Okay, now we got the Beantown Bullies. 1 black, red, green. I forget what that's called. Legendary creature, Ogre Devil Warrior. Ogre Devil Warrior. Say that 5 times fast. 4/4, Vigilance and Haste. Tap the Beantown Bullets. Oh, Beantown Bullets, not Bullies. Yeah, it is Bullies. The Beantown Bullies. Tap them. Target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under their control. It gains haste. Goad it at the beginning of the next end step. Exile it. No, thank you. Unless those creatures I have in my deck that would be in the graveyard cause you pain and anguish, I don't want you taking my stuff, even if it is goaded. Because if I'm your only target, goading doesn't do shit, and it means you can hit me with my own creatures. No, thank you. Nope. This card is just not. No. Wizards, what are you doing? If you need advice on how to make cards over there at Wizards of the Coast and make fun cards, feel free to give me a call. Give me an email. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Kings of Lethal. But this thing is my first take. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will build something and slap me in the face with it, but I doubt it. Because I feel like I'm going to be bullying this freaking card all day long. Yeah, this thing, first glance, first read, complete and total butthole. Alright guys, we're nearing the end here, I promise. If any of you guys would like to see any of these cards with a solo video of me going more in depth with these, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I love your guys' feedback. I do love a lot of these cards, and I feel like I could go into depth with a lot of these legendary creatures in general. So if you guys would love to, just let me know, and I'll make single card videos going more in depth on those specific cards. But the next one we're going to talk about here is going to be Evelyn the Covetous. So this is going to be a 2. It's got a weird color pie here, but pretty much it's going to be Grixis is the color pie is going to fall under. But so it's got 2 hybrid hybrid blue black, and hybrid black red. So it's either going to be 2 a black and a blue, a black and a black red. If that makes any sense. 5 CMC. Just put it that way. Legendary creature, Vampire Rogue, 2/5 with Flash. Ooh, Flash, that makes it fun. It's even already a good card. I didn't even realize that Flash, but here's the effect. Whenever Evelyn the Covetous or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it if it was exiled by an ability you control. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. The reason why I like this card is it's Vampire Tribal. I'm not going to be building it only for the fact that I don't have a lot of vampires. All the vampires I did have, I gave to the other third king of Lethal Steel. He has a awesome Edgar Markov deck, vampire, which is going to sound crazy, but that's not even really Vampire Tribal. The way he has it built, though, is insanely fun to play against. But I can see, like, she seems like a really fun vampire commander to play. You had Olivia come out in one of the previous sets. She was fun to play with, but I think I would, if I'm going Vampire Tribal, I'm definitely going to be choosing Evelyn the Covetous for sure. Seems pretty fun. The fact that it has Flash makes it even more enjoyable for me to see. Alright, and this is going to be the wrap-up card, last but not least from the cards that have been announced so far, again, as the 8th of April, as of today. This is the last card that I feel is a fun card to have in your deck. And this card is going to be called Arcane Bombardment, based off the color of its logo. It looks like it might be a mythic. It should be a mythic if it's not. Arcane Bombardment, 4 and 2 red, so 6-drop, mono red enchantment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. Then copy each card exile Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. Let me read that last part again. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. So, this would not be, in my personal opinion, this would not be in a mono red deck. It can be, if you want to do a lot of fun burn stuff, with real quick little drops, again, because whenever you cast your first instant sorcery spell each turn, so that's on your opponent's turns as well, you get to go ahead and exile a random instant sorcery from your graveyard, and it gets put in exile with Arcane Bombardment. Then, so, you know, if you got a counter spell in there and you exile that counter spell, you pretty much have a counter on go, without paying its mana cost. So just counter it. Why not? Let's just keep countering it. Copy each card, exile Arcane. Okay, this thing gets more and more impressive every time I read it. Sorry about that little pause there. I gotta read it again just because it's kind of confusing here. So, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. Then copy each card, exile Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. Okay. Not as good as I originally thought. So it's whenever you cast that first one, you're going to exile, make a copy of everything that is exiled with it, and then cast those on that at that time. So if you do counter a spell on an opponent's turn, you'll be able to do that. I believe those cards can be cast at instant speed. I believe they get around the timing rules of their sorceries, i.e. for extra turn spells or stuff like that. This is a fun card. I like this card. I feel like it's going to be broken. Don't be shocked if you see this in a lot of red, especially Spellslinger decks moving forward. This deck, or this card, looks pretty fun.